Apple showing up and giving us so many really cool features with this new iOS 15 update. If you didn't watch last week's video all about Apple Notes, you won't get the really cool joke, but I'm gonna try my best not to say really cool 10,000 times during this video. I said I was gonna try my best. I didn't say I wasn't gonna do it. I just said I was gonna try my best. It's funny because this channel has always been, marketing tips, entrepreneur tips, YouTube tips, creator tips, that kind of thing. And the one time in the last few years that I let my tech nerd flag fly, y'all are all over it. My Apple Notes video is flying off the digital YouTube shelves. So I thought that it would only be appropriate for me to give you more of what you want with some iOS 15 features that you didn't know were there, that are a little bit hidden, but are rock star features. Now listen, I'm not one to get super excited about an iOS update because generally with Apple, it feels like they just add a few things every year and it gets increasingly better. It's not like, oh my gosh, it's completely different from the last one. But these features that you probably don't even know are on iOS 15 are in some ways game-changing. So that's why I want to do this video. We're gonna do 10 hidden features on iOS 15 that you did not know about. Hey howdy, hey y'all. If you are new here, my name is Jessica Stansberry and I am pumped that you are here. If you like what you're seeing, you should probably hit subscribe because this is a fun channel to be subscribed to. Now, without beating around the bush too much, let's just get into it. These are not ranked in any particular order. I do not think that any of these are better than the others, although there is one feature that you're gonna hear me get really excited and really nerdy about because of its use cases and the ways that I can see this being super helpful. But for the most part, in no particular order. So number one is actually one I talked about in my Apple Notes video. And if you did not watch that video, I talked about all of the really cool new features that Apple released with iOS 15's iPad update for Apple Notes that just changed the game for that program. Apple Notes used to just be this piddly thing on your phone, and now it's going head to head with some of the best note-taking apps out there. So if you didn't watch that, I'll make sure I link it above and below. But I mentioned this in that video, but I didn't go into massive detail. So number one here is that you can copy text from images. But not only that, you can live translate text. So let me explain. One, you can have a photo on your camera roll of handwritten text, of scripted text, of something you wrote or something you've taken a picture of, and you can have it dictated into written text. All you have to do is push one button or even just double tap the screen to select the text and Apple will do the work for you. And from what I have found, it's pretty accurate even with scripted fonts or, maybe it's a little hard to read the picture or whatever. It's pretty darn accurate and the use cases around this are insane. It's funny because in my Apple Notes video, I talked about this and somebody, of course, some, Android user, which I am not, commented and was like, you Apple people getting excited over features we've had for 2 years. And I'm like, yeah, we do. Okay. What's your point? But the use cases involved in this are bananas. I mean, imagine being able to take a picture of a flyer and that has somebody's website on it and being able to just copy and paste that website into a browser instead of having to type it in or forget about it or whatever. Phone numbers, taking pictures of something and being able to copy the phone number and go ahead and call it. All kinds of fun use cases. But one that I saw mentioned somewhere that I hadn't really thought about because one, travel is the furthest thing from my mind right now because #COVID, but also because even when I was traveling a lot, I really wasn't traveling outside of the country, but it has a translate feature. So if you are in another country and you want to take a photo of a sign or something and have it translated right within the Photos app, you can do that. iOS 15 will do that for you. And let's say you're typing a note and you want to bring in text from something that is written. You can actually go ahead and in the note, open up the camera and have it start dictating text on whatever you are pointing the camera at. So just game-changing features that we really didn't have in iOS 14 as features that need to be mentioned, Another one that's only slightly different from last year is that we are now able to pin text conversations to the top of our text feed. Now in iOS 14 and maybe even iOS 13, I can't remember now, you were able to pin people to the top of your conversation feed. So like I have my husband, my sister, my sister-in-law, my mom, like all these people that I text with on the regular, you can pin them at the top. But now, even outside of that, you can pin certain text messages to the top of your text message feed. So for instance, this week I have to go meet one of my kids' teachers, and they have been texting me about this meeting and whatever, but I get a bajillion text messages a day between like the spam stuff and, actual text messages. And so it has gotten buried, and because I don't have her in my phone, which I should, but I don't, the text thread has gotten buried. So now all I have to do is hold down on that text thread and pin it to the top, and Apple will leave it sitting there until I unpin it. Another one we did not have in iOS 14 was the ability to add people in widgets. So, we got all the like fun widgets and stuff. Well, now you can also add people to those widgets. So if you wanted like a large widget with multiple contacts in it on your home screen to easily just like push them and text them or call them or whatever, you can do that, or you can just have like one small widget with one person in it, which is what I have on mine. I have my husband as like a widget on my home screen, so it's super easy to call him. I don't even have to go into like my recents or anything like that. And while it's not like a groundbreaking feature, it can be really time saving, honestly. This next one is the one I'm gonna nerd out about, so fair warning, and that is focus modes. So we've always been able to turn on Do Not Disturb, and we've always been able to add certain numbers to our Do Not Disturb list so that they can still get through. And I personally use Do Not Disturb a lot because like if I'm filming videos or I'm in the middle of a work call or I'm doing a presentation or whatever, right? I want to be able to, turn on Do Not Disturb and not have a ton of things flying into my phone while I'm doing that. But my worry as a mom, and all you other moms out there will get this, is that, I'll miss a call from my kid's school or something, I'll be needed in some way from the kids. And so I've always used that feature and been able to add the school number and like other numbers into this like bucket where I can still receive calls or texts or whatever from a certain group of people when I'm on Do Not Disturb. But now we have focus modes that are customizable to whatever you want them to be customizable for. And not only that, but you can actually change home screens based on what focus mode you're currently on. Use case scenario, lots of them actually. Let's say I'm doing a workout. Let's say that I am riding my Peloton or I'm out in my garage lifting weights or whatever, okay? And I want to turn on the gym time focus mode or whatever focus mode I want to create and whatever I want to name it. The home screen on that might be different than my regular home screen. So I might want to have Spotify and podcast and my fitness tracker or whatever on the home screen of that focus mode so that as soon as I turn it on, everything changes over to I'm in workout mode and nothing's going to disrupt me. I can still add people to like the let through list in these focus modes just like in Do Not Disturb, so I can still have my kids' school have the availability to call me or whatever. So as someone who uses Do Not Disturb in multiple different scenarios, I can see having screens for a lot of different situations, and you can actually set them up to expire, and it's just a really, really cool, okay, there's one time I'm gonna use that, really cool feature of iOS 15. So let's say when I sit down to work and I really need to be focused for work, I want to turn on a certain focus mode for that. Again, certain numbers can get through if they need to, but then the rest of them are all silenced. And on that focus mode, I don't need to be distracted by Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or whatever else that is normally on my home screen of my iPhone. So then I can change it to a home screen where it's just got like a timer or a clock or some big photo widget or nothing on it. And that way I'm not super distracted by the scroll. Anyway, if there was any of these features that I was gonna break out that it's really cool for, it would be this one. I really, really like and am excited to kind of play with the focus modes in iOS 15. Now, next up we have notification summaries. Y'all, when I started filming this, it was really dark and gloomy outside. Now the sun's coming out. So the lighting, I apologize. But if you are someone who has a ton of notifications coming into your phone, you can set up notification summaries now with iOS 15, where you can tell it like what time of day or how many times per day you want it to just summarize all of the notifications you would have gotten in those like off times and send you one summary notification every day, or 2 or 3, however you want to do it. So instead of being like notified every time someone likes a photo or DMs you or whatever on Instagram, you can put that in a notification summary and it will come with your notification summary. You can pick and choose which apps to do this with and which notifications you want in which summary and all of that stuff, which is honestly just like a sanity saving feature. However, my biggest tip is to not have notifications on at all. The only notifications that actually come into my phone are from my team, so apps that they use, so like Voxer or Slack, and text messages, and that is it. I don't get email notifications, no social media notifications, nothing. I actually have to go out and seek out the apps if I want to find out what is going on them, and I'm telling you what, that is a game changer by itself. But if you do have notifications, this is a great way to leave them on and still not be distracted every single time you get a notification. Quick notes. We talked about quick notes as one of the main things I talked about in my Apple Notes update video. But it's the same on your iPhone. I talked about it in the context of an iPad. And honestly, if I were ranking my favorite things about iOS 15, quick notes would definitely be in that like top 3. So I was just filming the B-roll for this video and I said that it worked just like it does on the iPad, and it doesn't. You can't swipe up from the right-hand side of the screen to take notes, which I think is very annoying, and I feel like I had tried it out, but obviously I didn't. But you can still set up quick notes on your like command center. So the thing that comes down when you swipe from the top right hand corner, where you can get like the flashlight and the focus modes and whatever, you can set up quick note to be on there. So you could quickly, swipe down from the right, have the note thing be there, tap that and make a quick note that way. I will say with it being like that, it's less of a cool feature, but it is still a hidden feature that you probably didn't know about, and it is still a quick note versus having to go into the Notes app like we have in the past. Okay, so this next one is just like really fun. Again, it just kind of makes my nerdy heart happy. If you are wanting to save photos, let's say you go to Google and you are looking for Bernedoodle puppies, okay? And you go to Google and you look up the images for those puppies. Normally in previous iOS systems, you would have to hold your finger down on each one and save that photo. But now you can kind of stack them together and drag them into your Photos app. So there's no like time suck in clicking this one and saving, clicking this one and saving, and whatever. Now, that is just one use case, but it's a feature built into iOS 15. I've really only found this to be super useful with like Google Photos or whatever, search engine you're using to be able to stack things like that, but it is a time-saving situation, and I'm all about saving time where we don't need to be like spending time. So stack your photos together, just drag them and drop them into Photos, and you are done. And while we're on the topic of photos, I might as well just stack this one right in there. When you are sending photos now and receiving photos on the iPhone, if you have updated to iOS 15, let's say someone's gonna send you like 7 photos or 14 photos or whatever, normally they would be all in a row, right? Like they would just be stacked together. You'd have to scroll to see them all, whatever, and you could individually save each one. Now, if someone is going to send you multiple photos, they send them in a stack. So these photos, my sister's car got ruined the other day, and my mom sent me these photos from my sister, and they just sent in a stack. So I can scroll through the stack really easily. I can save the ones I want, or if I'm back on like the home screen of the message, I can just go ahead and download them all right there. So it's not this like crazy, I have to download each one individually thing. And again, I'm a sucker for a time-saving hack, and let me tell you the amount of times I have been annoyed that I have to save each individual photo in an iMessage from someone, because that's just the way that Apple made it. So now you don't have to do that, and that's awesome. All right, next one replaces a lot of apps out there, and I have a feeling a lot of app developers are going to be mad. I don't know the technical term for what this is, but basically it's a photo lookup situation. So if you take a picture of a cat or a dog or a plant, right? Like if I take a picture of one of my plants, these are fake, but if I took a picture of them and I was like, hey, you know, I want to know what kind of plant that is. So if you're hiking or whatever, there's already apps for that, but now it's built into iOS 15. You can discover what kind of plants, what kind of cats, what kind of dogs, like whatever. And I have noticed that like the thing you're looking for has to be the main subject of the photo, because I had an old picture of my dog and my cat together, and it was like they neither one were super close to the camera, and I didn't get this option. But you can do this with so many things. You can take a picture of a book and automatically be taken to a link to buy it. There are so many use cases for this. After you take a photo, once you go back into your Photos app, the little information bubble at the bottom, the little eye with a circle in it, if it has the little star on it, you can click that and there will be a look up option. So if I take a picture of a book, let's say I'm in the library or I'm at a friend's house or whatever, and I want to take a photo of a book. Let's say they have this You're a Badass Everyday book on their bookshelf, and I want to take a photo of it and figure out where I can purchase it or go ahead and find it on Amazon. That little information bubble at the bottom with the star, you click that and then you can just hit look up book. So once you hit look up book, it will actually bring up multiple places you can buy that book. Now, I have found with the book situation, it's going to bring up Apple Books first, and then it's gonna completely ignore Amazon. So for this one, I got like indiebound.org and Barnes & Noble, but you could at least then see the title of the book and you could take it over to Amazon if you want to. And honestly, just being able to identify like the type of plant you're looking at or something cool like that is a really awesome use case for this. I don't know how often I'll use it, but I think it's cool and I think it's a welcome feature to iOS 15. Last, but definitely not least, is the fact that you can now share reminders in a similar way that you can share Apple Notes. So, example, my husband does not keep like a digital calendar. I've tried and tried, and now that he's an entrepreneur, he's gonna have to get better at this. But where a normal human like myself would maybe share a kid's calendar or a family schedule calendar with Google Calendar with my husband so he could see all of our appointments and whatever else, because he doesn't pay attention to it, it doesn't help us at all. But being able to set up reminders like, hey, we have to go get the kids, or hey, you have to take the cat to the vet, or hey, this has to happen, or hey, that has to happen, and share it with my husband can be really useful, because then it's now also a reminder on his phone, and we're both going to be reminded of the thing that I set a reminder for to begin with. So while I definitely think it's a feature that not everybody is going to care about or love, for me, it had to go in this top 10 because I can really see it being useful for my particular case. Now, I do not have the new iOS 13. I have the 12 Pro Max, and look, it's busted. It's like busted. Not good. But I have the iOS 12 Pro Max, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you can get iOS 15 all the way down to like the iPhone 6, which is insane. And I will say I have been using the beta version of 15 and then have been using the like standard public version of 15 for a while now, and I've not really had any major hiccups. I know that anytime there's a new software, you know, it's a worry that there's going to be these like crazy hiccups. I've not had any, and the new features are worth the upgrade to me, because particularly with those focus modes and quick notes, it is well worth it to me to have the upgrade and test it out. Y'all seem to really like my Apple Notes video, and if you like this video too, hit me up in the comments and let me know what else you want to see from me about this type of stuff, like the techie stuff, the, you know, productivity stuff that maybe isn't normally landing on this channel. I love to talk about it. I could nerd out about it all day, okay? All day. But until next time, you know the drill. Bye, y'all.